Hi y'all, it's Abby. I've laid the cards before. This is kind of like the oracle reading that we're doing first for Venus and Scorpio. Of course, we're not gonna, differentiate too much between Venus, Moon, whatever your placements are at this time. Take what resonates. And I'm just going to do Venus and Scorpio because we're approaching a full moon in Venus on the 26th. So go Team Scorpio. And there's going to be a lot of issues that are coming up because the full moon in Scorpio, I believe it's going to be in the 7th degree. So if you have a birthday in late October, 0 to 10 degree angle, any type of opposition sign, because Taurus is the opposite of Scorpio, it's exactly 180 degrees. And then now we're in a Taurian moon. So there's going to be a lot of issues surrounding material security, like physical attraction. So for all you people looking to find a mate, or there's singles out there that are looking, and I emphasize they're looking because, not everyone is looking, then it may come through a form of a windfall of some sort. So it could be money related, a career related move that leads to some sort of romantic entanglement, or I emphasize entanglement because there necessarily doesn't have to be an actual outcome to the relationship. There are issues surrounding this, such as, the third party situations that people don't intentionally get involved into, but they do anyways. And just things that they are coming to a climax with. So reaching crisis with, reaching some sort of ending. It'll kind of coincide with a lot of people's charts, depending on what house you're in. So let's discuss the house spread right now. So to these cards right here, this is from the Heavenly Bodies Lily Ashwell Astrology from Books. I'll link that below if anyone's interested, but this is what I pulled. Mainly for more clarification, I pulled one card from each kind of section of the deck to give you a better idea. So here is Venus, and it says, give and receive love, find value, and see beauty. So Venus is naturally in its home in a Taurus house. So if Venus is in Taurus, it is naturally at home with this house. What does that mean? It's emphasizing the same Venusian traits as a Taurus zodiac sign. So the characteristics are very similar. Their values are similar. They tend to go for comfort. They're creatures of comfort. They're very expressive in materialistic forms. So giving gifts is a sign of affection. They like the finer things in life. You'll see a lot of Taurians become connoisseurs of, they're gourmands. They're very interested in food, wine, culture, and the arts, and they support them very fervently in some respects, to the best of their abilities. It doesn't have to be some sort of a splurge for them, but usually they'll save up for pricey purchases, such as a lavish home, a really nice car, that kind of thing. So if you meet a Venus and Taurus person, a Venus and Taurus person will usually have a very nice speaking voice. They'll have a very good singing quality to their voice, and kind of musical quality. And a lot of them who have major placements, sun, moon, and rising in Venus, or in Venus in Taurus, they'll have very soft-like features, but not exactly like a Pisces where it's dreamlike looking. They're more not doughy-eyed, but more of an earthy vibe. So there's an earthy, magnetic quality to them. And it happens to be magnetic because as the opposition, a Venus in Scorpio is intense and exposing, purging and renewing. So when you hear people say, oh, this person's really sensuous and magnetic, you could be talking about someone in a Taurus or a Scorpio sign, because they are kind of similar in that way. They both show sensuality through physical affection. So you'll see, they get a bad rap for people in Venus and Scorpio, Venus and Taurus. They also like to be called kind of the fast and loose types. Someone who has, bedroom eyes, or, kind of steamy looking appearance, and they're kind of known as femme fatales, or, very sexy goddesses, which they can be. I'm not saying I'm not. But I'm just saying that there's a lot of people out there that think that this is a kind of a stereotypical Venus and Scorpio type of vibe. So it is kind of a stereotype to think that way, but there are different value systems that Scorpions hold, and most likely they hold very dearly. They have very intense scruples and opinions and value systems. So it depends, nature versus nurture. There's a lot of issues surrounding that, and it really depends on the way you were brought up and what you value into the spectrum of extremes. So you'll suddenly hear someone, has been reclusive for years. They're like a hermit, and not necessarily having Virgo in their chart. They might just seem like they're very prudish or very studious in some sort of field that they're professionals in. But they could be also at the other end of the spectrum, very sensual and exhibitionist and making a lot of profit from, for example, exotic dancing or some sort of a craft where it's looked down upon in the society we live in. So they could, proclaim themselves as, type of femme fatale type of figure, but they're not exactly what all that seems on the surface. There's always something lurking behind a Scorpion's eyes, and usually their eyes are kind of intense and kind of the souls and the windows to their souls. So let's begin. Again, just getting off track, I digress. So let's go back to the cards here. So spirituality and emotion, intuition and compassion. So the water signs with Cancer and Scorpio and Pisces are extremely intuitive. They are attributed to always the moon with Cancer here, but they are also with Venus and Scorpio, sometimes attributed to either the 8th house or the 2nd house. And especially with the 8th house, it says transformation, karma, and facing fears and legacies. So what that means is other people's money in terms of legacies. So you'll see a lot of Scorpions might work in bank investments, or they're naturally good at investing. They could be interested in the art world. They could be, gallery owners or type of people who invest in art as a form of their living. They could be into interior design and real estate, because that is a form of investment in an aesthetic, tangible objects. So a lot of antiquities, real estate, actual tangible property that people own or other people own from other generations. So legacies, that kind of thing. Also, a lot of fears and fear-based type of transformations. You'll see a lot of Venus and Scorpions in general who come out of an abusive relationship. Taboo subjects such as BDSM and other type of, again, taboo subjects in society are attributed to Scorpions. With House 2, there's a lot of physical security, possessions, material values, and self-worth. So this kind of runs the gamut between House 2 to House 8. And you might think they look very different on the outside, but in fact, Venus in 8th house versus Venus in House 2, even if they're not in the Scorpion signs, they can be very possessive people. Possessive being in House 2, obsessive being in House 8. So you'll notice that people who get out of relationships from these signs, if they're the placements or houses in these signs, they'll usually be kind of control freaks, and they're pretty tight-lipped about their personal lives usually, and they don't tend to speak lightly about friends or foes. They won't let you know who their enemies are in broad daylight. So they're quite secretive in that way, but not as what you think it would be. So they could be very open in other respects, in their job, in their family life. They're very open to show expressions of affection, but they're not too open in talking about the darker sides of life, unless it happens to be in a funeral setting or some sort of death-related atmosphere. Okay, so not intentionally. So let's take a look at the daily crystals that I pulled in ahead of time as well. So with this, I have pyrite, let the money flow in. So there's quite of echoing in house 2 values right now with a lot of Venus and Scorpion signs. So there might be a lot of just upcoming windfall if you haven't had it since 2020. I suspect this has been going on for more than 12 months now. Perhaps at the beginning of 2020, you had kind of a swift change in either career job, or you owned your own business, or you left a different career for another, possibly even a partnership from a marriage or divorce of some sort, and you came into a windfall, perhaps dealing with legal issues or settlement issues, government issues, where you had a lot of money that came into your life. So this also kind of indicates that this will actually continue on, and perhaps even through October, which October of this year, I believe, October 20th will be the Hunter's moon in Aries, which is a full moon in Aries, I believe, and that will also hit some of your 8th houses. And again, with the 8th house, there is a legacy element or some sort of windfall from inherited money, or issues dealing with other people's money that you come across that you're earning, and divorce or settlements or separations that cause you to have a windfall. After Pyrite, I pulled Evidot. It says go deeper. So with go deeper, let's take a quick look. You're ready to heal on a deeper level. Peel back the layers around your heart by letting your guard down and opening yourself up to being vulnerable. Begin to express any emotional wounds so you can repair your heart and renew your spirit, leaving you to open, pursuing healthier relationships. You're strong enough to shatter all the barriers that you have been holding back from forming deeper connections with the people in your life. It takes bravery to dive deep, but once you do, you can unlock a more meaningful existence. Ask yourself, are you holding yourself back from creating deeper relationships? Do you allow yourself to be vulnerable? What can you do differently? An affirmation is I open my heart to loving connections today. I take some time to have a deeper conversation with someone. Okay, so all about deepness and exploring relationships. So that's also kind of a common theme for Scorpions. They do value relationships, not in the way that Libra does, but in terms of partnerships, relationships, they do take it dead seriously. So they're not as flippant or more flirtatious, as they say, with Libra, and they're not too sociable in that kind of way. So a Libra is more kind of like the savvy and the they're more of the gentleman ladies circle of type of relationships. They're very societally driven by, climbing the ladder, keeping up appearances. But Scorpions don't necessarily put that in the prioritized manner. They do care about appearances, but they really do care about what's deep inside of others and their motives towards them. So they're very protective in that way. It takes them a little bit more time to get to know, tendency to become deeper involved with a Scorpio. There has to be an intense mental, physical, and spiritual attraction. So you'll see they don't attach to people very easily. And once they do, they'll tend to have more stubborn, obsessive tendencies, similar to what Taurus or Taurians have in the opposite sign. They're very similar in their stubbornness. So I pulled these two messages of just, there's kind of your soulmate or twin flame messages here. They're from my own deck. It says, you're inescapable from my thoughts. And the other one says, you're more important than money or fame to me. So it looks like we'll explore this a little bit more in our tarot pulls, but it does mean that it says that someone has either betrayed you in the past or some sort of a falling out, romantic, or, it could be anything, but you're not off of their minds yet. An ex keeps returning or keeping you on their mind. A very common theme for Scorpions, since they're very unforgettable. People don't tend to forget about them once they become part of their lives. They're kind of intertwined very permanently. So another card we should take a look at is the secret language of color cards here. So I believe I pulled this from either Aquarius or Gemini a few weeks ago, maybe a week ago, attract abundance for gold. So this again goes back to pyrite, let the money flow in. So gold and pyrite, wow. So this is, for Venus and Scorpions, there's this type of dichotomy, or this type of like contradictory thing that's going on, is they tend to attract abundance when something goes wrong in their love lives. So what I mean by that is it's kind of either or. It's very rarely both. And if they do attract both, I think Scorpions know what's best for them, and they'll tend to actually err on the side of caution and go with what's best for them. And I think that's financial security here. Not to say they're cold individuals who don't want love, but it just seems like it's a safer bet, and it's a deeper investment that they think that will pay off with more return of investment. So more ROIs in that sense. There's also a similar thing where a lot of Scorpions, especially Venus and Scorpions, they really are invested in return on investments, and they're very stuck on the idea of something giving back to them for, you know, tenfolds and 10 times as powerful as it did before. So they don't tend to look very lightly on love. They're very skeptical of that. So they do tend to look more in the material side of things, which can be a detriment if you think about it like that. It'd be a very kind of sad issue to deal with. But then again, they don't form tight bonds for, you know, just anyone. And then turquoise, it says awaken your empathy. There's a sense where you have to become more compassionate. And with compassion and water, it does go very similarly with water here, with the theme of the blue water here, meaning this card over here, with spirituality, emotion, intuition, and compassion. So compassion and empathy go hand in hand. You can be empathetic to others and sympathetic to others, but you have to actually maintain a sense of compassion to do so. Okay, so let's take a short break, and I'll be back with the card pulls. So welcome back, Venus and Scorpio. So I've laid out the tarot portion for this reading. And again, this format is going to be, first we'll discuss your Venus positions and your sign in your Venus sign. And then we'll discuss your tarot oracle deck here that I will also use in a minute. So in the recent past, you have the star here. So what I'm seeing is someone who has been in good spirits, and there's a renewed sense of spirituality. You're really returning to yourself here, Venus and Scorpio. And definitely this is a purity of a cleansing of some sort of your past regrets or your past indiscretions. And you sense that you have a strength now, and you've done a lot of growth and spiritual development. You see here she's in a very quiet setting, in a very natural pose as she's nude, but she is also surrounded by a lot of stars here, 7 stars. This also could represent that you or the person you're dealing with, or your current temperament, is ruled by Uranus or Aquarius. So you might be an Aquarian yourself, Sun, Moon, Venus, or rising, or Sun, Moon, and rising. So you might be an Aquarius, Sun, Moon, or rising, Mars, or possible South or North nodes. And in the recent past, you had let go of some sort of a burden. So 10 of Wands here. I definitely see that you either had broken up with someone or have let go of this relationship in the past that has affected you in a very burdensome way. There's a definite feeling of completion and release from 10 of Wands in the recent past. There could be, if this is not a romantic issue, it could be a partnership of some sort of career or job that you have completed and let go of. But you definitely had a lot of extra responsibilities, and you put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into this situationship. You could have been dealing with fire signs, Aries, Sagittarius, or Leo. And then in the current future here, you have the Five of Swords. So with the Five of Swords here, we're looking at someone who has defeated their enemies, but in doing so, they are also feeling a sense of defeat themselves. There's a feeling of an ego issue of trying to be right about something. So you may have done the best that you could and let go of the situation. There may have been some words exchanged that were the communication was very tense. You know, if this is a job situation, you may have said something that you regretted in the past, but you said something before you left the job or before you left the relationship. There were some words exchanged that were heated. So let's see why the Star is here. Why is the Star here in the recent past? Okay. Oops, so you have Two of Cups fall out and then the Knight of Cups in reverse. So there seems to be some sort of situation where emotionally there was a letting go of someone, definitely with the Star here. And there was a happy situation, but it was a couple's offer. In the current present, you definitely let go of the situation. And there was a lot of just dragging along this relationship that you didn't need. There's definitely heartbreak in the Knight of Cups reversed here, disappointment. Could have been dealing with a Scorpio, Pisces, or Cancer with the Cups here. But definitely you've regained your own sense of self and kind of left that situation behind. Let's see why the Ten of Wands and Five of Swords are here. Let's see, we have Page of Wands, clarifying the Ten of Wands. So there's a sense of inspiration or freedom at this time. You've regained a sense of youth. You're embarking on a new issue or plan that you've kind of executed yourself. Again, that hope from the Star has brought you to the place where you are right now. You're starting anew. Perhaps you've moved on to another place or physically, geographically relocated. You're not sure where you're headed, but you are creatively restless right now, and you might be pursuing a lot of things that you've always wanted to do so without the burden of having a past relationship or a job situation in mind. And then the Five of Swords were clarified by the Three of Swords. So there's definitely still a lot of grief from this past relationship. There's the suffering of emotional pain, the piercing of the heart here. So you could be dealing with Libra, Aquarius, or Gemini again. And yeah, it could be also the person that you're dealing with or have dealt with that has felt this way about the relationship that you've terminated. And let's see, what is your recent outcome or advice? The Tower in reverse. Wow, so Major Arcana. So your advice really is the theme of this is to let go of the situation. And if you don't take this as a clear warning that you should be moving on, then of course there will be sudden changes and the universe will force you to move on at this time. I see this more as the person that you're dealing with was kind of upended by this issue or by this ending. They were upended by this ending that suddenly occurred in your life. Perhaps you moved on very quickly with the Ten of Wands and the Page of Wands here. It looks like in the current present you took a lot of initiative in making this happen and really took heed of the fact that you had to change things before they got really bad. And with Venus and Scorpio, a lot of people do see the Tower as not necessarily a negative thing. I think a lot of Venus and Scorpions do take endings very, very well. In some cases, they're accepting of endings because Scorpions in their nature are extremely regenerative. So when one thing ends and an opportunity closes, another one begins. They don't obviously they don't take it lightly, but they take it very well in the sense where they're accepting of it. I think they're more accepting of it than other signs are. And when it comes to personal relationships, it might be the person that they're dealing with that went through this recently. So definitely a sense of avoiding the disaster that could have happened with the Tower. So it wasn't something that was a bitter or acrimonious type of ending. but you came up much stronger and regenerated through this. And hopefully your person understands that both avoided the crisis that was about to occur by cutting everyone out soon and cut your losses. So let's take a look at your twin flame mirror dialogue or message here. So dealing with someone in the future that you may meet that is your twin flame, or the next person that is moving towards you. So it says, I'm healing old issues from the Wands situation, and you're moving on with Page of Wands here. In the recent past, you've definitely claimed your own spirit and self-worth back. Let's do another one for Venus and Scorpio, or maybe your person. It says, I know my ego is in the way. So you or the person you were dealing with was and currently could be still dealing with a lot of ego issues. Again, with the Five of Swords here, it was clear that someone was trying to win at all costs and not necessarily thinking of how this would impact everyone else involved. And obviously with a lot of things said in the past, you can't really take that back anymore. Another message, I can't do this right now. So you might be, you might be putting yourself into your work more, or are avoiding the issue. And then one more. I can't get you out of my mind. So this, along with this one that I told earlier, you're inescapable from my thoughts. So it seems like this person still is holding you very closely to their thoughts right now. It's very hard for them to put you in the past where you belong. It's not easy for them to move on from you, and you seem to be pretty unforgettable in their minds. What does Venus and Scorpio need to know moving forward? Okay, stop here. Believe in the impossible, blue moon. Okay, so you're still holding on to hope here that you'll meet your twin flame or the person that was meant for you one day. So there's definitely still optimism here, and there's no sense of defeat on your part. You may have had a bitter ending with another person in the past, but certainly you are you're still hopeful for the best. Another card for Scorpio or Venus and Scorpio. The energy is gaining momentum, waxing moon. So there might be some creative endeavors that you've currently pursued that creatively you think that something has stalled or become stagnant, but now it's moving along very quickly, and the energy is gaining momentum here. So there's no cause to worry about any stalled progress at this time. And then one more South Node, don't let your past hold you back. I mean, that's a very good theme for the Tower here in reverse. You've avoided the disaster that was coming to you, and you've regenerated yourself, so you definitely shouldn't let your past hold you back at this point. So beautiful messages of Venus and Scorpio. Thank you for joining me today. That is what I have for you. Hopefully you found this helpful, and if you like this series, I will continue doing the Venus through all the signs, and we'll do some weekly or monthly readings down the line as well, so look forward to those. Again, like and subscribe if you're new.